Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show. We are in studio again with Karl. You brought your other son, Marcus, in here. Welcome, Marcus, to the studio. Guys, we got a lot more to talk about. There's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of short clips they like to do these days. And we cut these up and give them to our clients, guests, just take these clips and put them all over the place, right? To show everybody what you can do to really show this off. But it's all cut from one long interview. If anybody really wants to learn the depth and the breadth of what it is, we do this for 2.5 hours now. So the second half hour, because we didn't get through everything the first half hour. When you've got an expert, they can't explain everything in 30 minutes, much less in an hour. But we're going to give an hour, another half hour of discussion here to really get down what goes on behind the scenes. And the guy coordinating all of this stuff here, there he is, Marcus, and what it takes to make this whole thing come together. With that, where else would you like to have such a beautiful house, your little castle? You've got to have some great furniture for that. These guys do outside furniture too. Maybe they help furnish some of the stuff after you guys have finished the project. But Carroll House, because you like nice things in your little castle. Does that make sense? Sure. You guys really make the castle, and then Brooke comes in with the furniture and give them a place to sit and hang out and do everything they do inside their castle. But with that, let's put everything back up on the wall for you guys for your website and Facebook so everybody can see that. All right, let's dig in here a little bit because Marcus is going to tell us what goes on behind the scenes. Tell me, how has technology changed the way things are done? Somebody who's probably been around for most of the way technology has taken over, it seems, in the last 10 or 15 years, but now Instagram. And you mentioned a couple things I hadn't heard of. I get to learn here too, everybody. Tell us what it is you think that the technology has done to make things better for you.
Technology has changed what we do in a lot of ways. I would say one of the most helpful areas is with estimating. So our turnaround time and being able to get estimates out to customers that are accurate has vastly been reduced. I mean, we can do that in such a short period of time now. Some people take days to get those turned around. We can do that in typically hours. One part of that I would say is really amazing with technology, aside from just being able to send those estimates electronically and be able to communicate with people that way, is a tool that we have that we're now using. It's a specific device that actually comes from Europe, but this device allows us to actually go out into somebody's property and accurately measure without using a tape measure, without having to check elevations with specific devices. This one device will let us walk the perimeter of a property to determine the size of a fence, or to measure a retaining wall and to know how much fall there is in the yard if something needs to be regraded or if we need to make changes to that place. So technology has really made our ability to estimate much more effective, much quicker, and it makes us able to produce very accurate estimates just simply because the error rate's so much lower. There's always human error when you're measuring something, specific shapes. If you measure a circle and then you put it next to a triangle or a square, that's kind of hard to start adding up on paper and figure out exactly how much sod you need to cover a backyard, for example. So when you have a tool that can digitally allow you to walk around and actually use sensors to make that measurement, it really speeds things up. So that's one of the cool things about what we do. I would say another part of technology that's really helped with us in recent days is just the ability, not just for the estimating, but also being able to take payments remotely instead of having to depend on checks or handing off cash. It's easy for people to, for example, put down their down payment with us. To be able to do that online now has really simplified things. They have the ability to do that with a credit card or with Apple Pay or even with bank transfer. So technology has really changed not just the way that we estimate, but also the way that we carry out our work. And in some other ways too, the technology in our products is changing. So like, for example, landscape lighting. People have low voltage lighting, and a lot of times there are timers that are just the lights are going on when the sun sets and the lights go off when the sun rises. Now they've got Wi-Fi based timers, so you can literally, set it right on your phone, or you can tell, Siri or Bixby or whatever you use to turn your lights on for you, or to control aspects of your pool, for example. So we have a lot of integration with our projects now that allows people to have greater control and enjoy their experience in their backyard and in their space. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming down the pike too. There's always new products, so we're always on our toes and trying to watch for those things.
Wow, everybody. See somebody on the ball over here. So take note, the technology can greatly impact. You heard me start the show with Bixby, right? I say Bixby, that's a Samsung thing, right? Bixby, turn on the studio lights. because we used to have to get up and go over and press a button. Now we don't have to do those kinds of things. But this is kind of the innovation, some of the technology that makes it easier, so that at certain times when the sunset comes up, they automatically turn on, and when the sun comes up in the morning, then they automatically turn off. This is all stuff you can help people to integrate into their outside landscape.
Yeah, there's stuff you wouldn't even imagine exists. You know, the ability to control fire features, water features, all those things. You know, just your voice now. It's incredible. You know?
Wow. So. All right. Dad, Karl.
Yes.
Tell me what your thoughts are here. Technology.
I don't do the technology. I'm just being honest. Being honest. I don't even know how to use a personal computer. I do everything on my phone.
Okay.
And I'm not lying.
All right.
You can ask him. He'll tell you.
So you kind of skipped over the whole computer revolution.
Yeah, I do. When I bid
stuff,
I still do it long version. I'll get piece of paper and ruler and calculator, and I don't has nothing to do, I guess, with the technology. Well, it does. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Like when I go to Cardinal games, this has nothing to do with our conversation, but I won't buy anything down there because I'm not going to use my credit card.
I got you.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no, everything's gone digital. You have to use a credit card these days to make a purchase. No cashless society, they're saying.
Yeah.
And so, those are things that obviously, but now you've kind of been thrust into this, but thank goodness you have some.
I will say this. I will offer this. We used to, the old-fashioned way, we used to have to take a transit out, put it on its stand, calibrate it, level it, and get it ready to go. And that would take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes by the time you get it out of the truck, set the tripod up, get it all ready to go. And then you had to break it down and take it back out to the truck. That device that he was talking about earlier that will take all those measurements, just walk in the backyard and start doing it.
Really?
It saves a lot of time. I mean, a ton of time. It's unbelievable how much time it saves.
Yeah, and in the same regard, that the device not only allows us to offer accurate estimates and quick turnaround, but it also allows us to create models and 3D renderings of what somebody might want on their property. So it's very unique in that aspect too, because it takes away from that process where you have to spend all that time designing it and drawing it into a computer. When you can literally take the exact layout and load that into the computer, you can see what the possibilities are for what you can do with it, you know, to really create an accurate picture.
You just put it together for me there. That makes sense. So that when somebody's got this whole digital drawing that input everything, now you can transfer that right into. There's no, okay, I see what it is there. Let's create that over here. It just takes the measurements, pulls them in. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
So not only does it save us time in terms of being able to measure and get an estimate out, but it also makes sure that it's accurate, and it gives people the ability to envision what they're trying to build.
What is it? It's accurate within what, 2%?
Oh, it's even less than that. Yeah, it's less than 1%.
Pretty crazy.
Wow,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this is the way technology has really impacted it. I've never heard about this kind of stuff. And when we had a pregame prep here, everybody, we talked about it. I said, so yeah, you get out the laser pointer. They're like, no, this just can tell by virtue of proximity, it can sense and whatever it does, but it nails it to that precise of a level to where now, because you can imagine somebody does 12 meters instead of 12 feet. That's a big mistake to make.
Yeah, you can walk down a hill in a backyard and then take that and look on the phone, and you can get a cross section of it, so you can see what that slope looks like.
Wow!
Right on the phone. It'll do that for you. It's pretty amazing, the technology that's out there, and I would imagine there's not a whole lot of contractors using that right now, but it's something that we wanted to be on the forefront for, and something that we actually purchased from Europe.
Well, okay, that's what we talk about. Those who strive to improve, and this comes from that competitive background you and I talked about a little bit earlier, Karl, but always improving, always doing better, always trying to find a way to get the job done and to make things more efficient and get a better output. Is that true?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, interesting, the technology and the way that impacts things in ways that you don't even think about. And just that transfer from something to analyze right into, so there's no, oh, well, it took the numbers here, let me copy them. Does that all for you. That's pretty good integration they can do there. Well, tell me, what do you feel like there was a time when you had a client that was in a particular tough spot? We mentioned a couple of those beforehand, where somebody just kind of got taken. And we hear these horror stories where somebody said, they took the money and ran. Tell me a little bit about sometime you helped somebody.
Well, there's one. I don't use names, but there was one down in DeSoto. And we had a booth at the home show. And this fellow approached me. And he said, I've talked to 2 or 3 people since I've been in the auditorium here, and they keep telling me that I should come and talk to you about taking care of my situation. I said, all right, so what's going on? And he had a set of plans in his hand. He said, well, I hired a contractor that was supposed to build my pool and a boulder wall and a water feature and a gazebo and paver, pool deck, plants, lighting. It was a major project. Well, he dug the hole and he put some like vinyl liner panels in, which leads me back to what I was saying in the first segment. A lot of people are just ignorant and they don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
There's no panel in a gunite swimming pool. This pool was supposed to be gunite. So anyway, we helped him out. And this was back years ago when I still had my brother-in-law as a business partner. And I told him, I said, we need to help these people out. So we did. And we couldn't give them what this guy said he was going to be able to give to them for the amount of money. He told these people that he could give them everything that I just described for $180,000. No.
Not going to happen.
No, just the pool, the way the pool was laid out and the water feature of the slide, that would have been 180 grand.
Right.
Not everything else that's included. Yeah. So anyway, bottom line is we helped them out. We couldn't give them a gunite pool, and we told them that. We said, we'll get you a vinyl liner, and we can't touch the $180,000, but we'll do whatever we can to help you out. And that's what we did. And to this day, I'm still good friends with them, and we gave them what they wanted, not exactly what they wanted, because it wasn't in their budget.
Right. And
unfortunately, state of Missouri let this guy take off, and he'd done it to 2 other people too. So it's shame on Missouri.
Yeah. Well, that's more note there. Take note. Do a little research. You can see some of the reviews these guys have got. They're on the Better Business Bureau with the A rating, and just make sure you investigate. That's where we like to add some credibility by having you on our show. Say, check these guys out. Listen to them talk for an hour about what they're doing.
You need to get 2 or 3 bids. Get 2 or 3 bids from different contractors. Even if you're sold on using us, still go get a couple more, and make a decision based on talking to 2 or 3 different people instead of just us. I'm not trying to give business away, but at the same time, people need to learn to practice that. That way we don't run into situations like we have. We just doing one now. We're finishing one up. Kind of the same situation. But yeah, it's a shame. But people just don't know any better.
Yeah. Well, as I say, ignorance is bliss, but it's also very expensive at times. If you don't catch up, but just to be ignorant of the situation and not know what's going on means you better do some research. The resources are out there too. The interwebs can at least. Does the internet make it easier or more difficult for your clients? Do you think they come in with the wrong information, or does it help them?
I think it probably helps them, but sometimes it's a nightmare for us because once we get on a job, what's the name of that? The women go on it all the time. What's the name of that website or whatever?
Pinterest? Or
yeah, Pinterest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we start a job, and the next day the lady says, well, I want to change this. I would rather do this. We can do it, but you know what? If we've already ordered the material.
Right. Come with those beforehand.
Yeah, so Pinterest, it's cool. Internet's cool. But sometimes it becomes a nightmare for us because people look at this every night and say, okay, are we doing the right thing? Is this really what we want, or do we want this?
Right.
And I get it. I totally get it because it's expensive.
Marcus, how often are you in the middle of that saying, okay, we've got this, but let me explain, that's not what you originally told us, or here's something that's going to, but we're still going to accommodate, here's another way to go at this and making the customer happy.
Yeah, it is a situation that we run into. We do the best that we can to work within a customer's budget. So if they see something or they come across something on the internet that they're interested in doing, or something they see in somebody else's backyard, we do the best to our ability to provide something that is going to meet those needs and fit within the budget, the realm that they're willing to work in. So that's, I would say that's a big part of the counter to what he's talking about anyway, is that we try to address it.
Yeah, because you can imagine there's people there. These are $200,000, $300,000 projects sometimes, and the margin for error. You don't want to blow an extra 10 grand when you don't have to. Because
what I tell people, when I go visit with them, if it's a big project and they got all these ideas, I tell them, I say, you know what? Tell me what you want. What's on your wish list? I'll bid it all. And then if you see the number and you choke on it,
right?
Then we'll figure out what we got to do to get you down to where you're comfortable, you know? And that's kind of how I've always done it. And I think that's a good way to do it, because you're trying to give them what they really want. But then once they see what it's going to cost, they can back off a little bit before they sign a contract with me. You understand?
Sure.
I always want my customers comfortable. I don't want them scrambling. I would rather them, because a lot of what we do is modular. Okay. So they don't have to do it all the first trip. Now it's cheaper for them if they can do it all while we're there, because it'll cost them more if we come back like a year later or a year and a half later. But it is kind of cool because everything we do is modular. So if they can't afford it, well, fine. Let's figure out what we need to do now in this first phase to prep for the things that you want down the road. And we do that a lot too.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. You're helping the community. Make it easy for them. Give them the options, but make it fit inside what they want. You're really helping the community. And these people this is a big investment. This is where they're going to spend all of their free time, and where they're going to raise the kids and have the grandkids and all that stuff. You want to have a great, fun facility, but something fun that is also safe, but accommodates for everything they're looking for too.
Right.
All right. Well, let's say I'm excited. I'm ready to go. What's the process? How do you get started? How does somebody say, ready to hire outdoor?
Well, what we do is
lifestyles. What do we do?
We either send them an estimate, and then they okay it, and then he'll send them a formal contract, and we get some earnest money of some kind. It depends on what the job is, but and that's how it all gets started. And then we get we break it down. In other words, if the job's $100,000. We don't ask for $100,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't ask for the final payment until we're done.
Right.
Because typically in a decent sized job, which $100,000 is a decent sized job, people don't really eliminate things. They always want to add.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is at the end of the project, at least I think this is the way we still do it, is at the end of the project, at the last payment, that's when we add all the extras or change orders. So then they know exactly what they've done to themselves, and they know what kind of money they're going to have to come up with.
And Marcus, you're the one on the back end dealing with this, making sure this all fits, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the process now, we have it pretty streamlined. Typically when somebody expresses interest or has reached out to us, or we've reached out to them because we've had a lead, when we talk to somebody, we find out, we get an idea of what they're looking for and what their budget is. We'll come out and we'll have a discussion with them, take a look at their property and see what it is that they're trying to do, trying to accomplish. At that point, once we have an idea of what they're looking for, what the budget is, we'll go and we'll write up an estimate for them. And after that point, we can go through it and we can make it fit their needs. So if they want to add something else or take something out of it, we're able to do that. So part of with technology, one of the things that's become really easy is sending those back and forth, because I can send out an estimate and put in, you know, all the pricing for something that somebody's looking at, but then say that they decided they want to have some additional plants, for example. They might call up Tanner or one of our other employees and say, hey, I decided I wanted to add some plants after seeing that last bid. Well, then I can take that and get that back to them, and they can take a look at it. And once we get it finalized, we'll have them sign off on it, and a project begins, just like he was talking about. So that's generally the flow of things. And if we encounter anything that's going to change over the course of the job, that is something that we can just add on to the final payment as a change order. So I would say that's normally the process for how the workflow goes, you know, from initial contact to coming out and seeing what it is that somebody's interested in doing and how it's going to fit into their yard or their home. And then trying to create that for them, you know, make that vision come true, come into a complete form. So.
Gotcha. Well, and like I said, it sounds like you guys really have nailed down the process here for people, because that's what people need. Structure, put them in a situation where it's something that's easy for them to understand and comprehend, and then go through the steps to get them through the process so they can have a finished project at the end.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, tell me, as a matter of, we all have had certain obstacles. I like businesses to share a little bit. Was there any time in the life of your business where you guys were like, wow, this is a big decision. This is going to change the way we're doing things, or we've learned from this? Can you give me an example of a challenge you've overcome in your many years of doing this?
Well, I'm in the middle of one right now. I'm letting these guys restructure the way that we run our company. And I'm a little nervous.
I got it. And so is that going to be a little bit heart wrenching? But it sounds like you've trained them well. These guys are running it and bringing some efficiencies and technology.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with it. I trust them. Otherwise, I would have said no. We're not doing it. So
yeah, we're just making some operational changes with, for example, the integration of technology. He's very pencil and paper. I am too, up until the point where I'm trying to put something together, but eventually it has to go into a form that is easy to communicate with customers on. So, I think part of that is the aspect that we're using more technology, and that's a little bit maybe unfamiliar for him, but very familiar for my brother and I, being a little bit younger and, kind of growing up with that stuff. So that's part of it. And just some operational changes that we're trying to do to bring an even better experience to the customer. Every business goes through growth and through changes, and we just continue to do everything that we can to make our business the best version of what it can be.
Well, it sounds like you guys have been through this enough to understand there are hurdles like there are anywhere in life, and maybe that competitive background a little bit. You're going to get through this thing one way or the other, but making sure you find a solution, because the only way you fail is if you quit, right? And if you guys come through all the way, as you have proven with all of the work you've done, check out a lot of work these guys have put it together on their website. I'm going to break off here just for a second to show everybody here. But if you look at the wall behind us, I'm going to put this for everybody to see. Take a look here. This is the website, olstl.com. But I wanted to glance back over here at the gallery again, and I had to take a look at some of the privacy fences. Take a look there, everybody. And just great work. Wow, some solid wood, some iron, I guess. Is that what a lot of those are?
Most of them are aluminum. So the great thing about aluminum versus the iron or steel fences is that the maintenance is less. They don't corrode. They're powder coated, and that gives you a really long lifespan, low maintenance.
Okay. And as we put up behind you there, I'll go back one more time. But some of these great sod and artificial turf, and there's just a whole lot of other features and options you guys put together for everybody. But literally anything, if you guys want to check out the work beforehand, and you'll render for them a complete finished project too. So let them see kind of a preview with a 3D rendering. What do you call that? Is that an AutoCAD, or what is the program that does that makes it available for people to preview the work you're doing for them?
There's a couple different programs that are utilized for it, but when we send that actually for a customer to view, it's going to be in a widely compatible format, like a PDF or an image or something that can be opened by them and viewed on their own computer.
Okay. Yeah. But gives them a great opportunity to really see all of what's going to go into this project, down to how many plants and the angles and 3D effect and everything that they can see.
Yep, and that makes us probably a little bit easier to work with too, in terms of people who have HOAs and neighborhood associations that want to see a finished plan or want to see what's going to be constructed. We're able to provide that.
Well, that says a lot about all of the work that you guys do to put this together and make it easy for somebody. I've dealt with the HOA a number of times. They're very friendly people, but they're just trying to look out for the betterment of the neighborhood there. But hey, we need this. We just documented permits. How often do you guys have to get a permit to do a job? That's something that's pretty regular.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that I do have to do on an occasion too in the office. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of it, making sure that everything's compliant and ready to go.
Well said. Tell me then, what is if you consider there's any one objection people often have? A lot of times it's price, but is there one objection that you have to help people overcome? I'm ready to do this. I think it's great, but what is that but often that people have before they decide to move forward with what you guys are going to do?
I don't even know what that answer would be, to be honest with you.
I mean, I kind of have a little bit of a thought on this. In my opinion, I would say the biggest objection overall would probably be cost, just simply because a lot of people have a vision in their mind of what they want, and we can put that together for them. But then once you get a number in front of them, they're like, wow, this is a lot. So I would say that's one of the bigger objections. But, the way that we overcome that is either, there's a couple different ways. So one thing could be that we try to get the cost down to a level that is compatible with what their budget is, what it allows for. I lost my train of thought there.
You're going to have to say, oh, well, change things up a little bit. Here's some things we can delete that. It's kind of modular, like your dad was saying.
Yeah.
So
yes, exactly. Thank you. That's exactly what I was, and I just stumbled on that, but that's exactly where I was going. Because the other part is then you can have that discussion too. That's how you overcome that objection too, is talking with the homeowner and explaining, look, you don't have to do all of this at this time. We can set it up so that we're doing the components and leaving it in a manner so that we can return to add on later, or you can, add those other aspects at a later time when they feel comfortable doing that.
Well, then tell me, as a matter of you're really putting together somebody's castle, what gives you the most satisfaction for what you do at the end of the day? You've been doing this for quite a while now, Karl. Tell me.
I just personally, now I don't really care for the labor part of it.
Right,
I haven't touched a tool in the field in probably 8 years, but I really enjoyed the work. But I like the end product.
Right.
I really do. And when you can give a family, most of the time the wife, what she's looking for, and you actually give her that product, it's awesome. Heck, some of them even tear up, you know.
Right.
It's a cool feeling. It really is, because it's satisfying, and you know what's the guys that work for us or with us. I hate that word, for us, but the guys that work with us, they like it too, and that's what I like. You know, we got a bunch of guys that work for us that really do enjoy doing what they do.
Well, you are really here making the dreams come true for people, to have that oasis, that castle, where they've got everything they ever dreamed of, and making it all come true for them.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Very cool. All right. Well, how do you feel as though you guys most contribute to the community? We talked about a particular instance, and I said we need to mention that. That's a cool story. Share, if you will, Karl, a little bit about.
Okay. My grandfathers and my dad, they were all in the military, and Marcus and I will go hang out up at the Baldwin VFW once in a while, and we know the guy that runs the place pretty well, and we were in there one night, and I just told Marcus, I said, you know what, we're going to put a patio out here. He said, what? I said, we're going to put a patio out here. So we ended up putting a paver patio in, a fire pit, and a retaining wall that's the same size as a seat wall. And we've got our texture deck guy going in next week. In fact, he's going in there to do their existing concrete patio and make it look kind of like granite. And he's going to do a VFW, ball and VFW insignia on the walkway as soon as you walk up the ramp to get into the VFW. And we got plants out there and lighting. It was just something that I wanted to do. You know, he was all about it.
Well, I think that, you know, the thing that I saw is that they had the potential to have more outdoor spacing, customers that could come out and use that, versus just having the indoor. You know, for events, it opens up the opportunity to have greater event sizes, and to have that space in the fall, open it was something that we could kind of give back on, that would be enjoyed by people who frequent there, you know. And
there it is, everybody. Stay tuned. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Outdoor lifestyles. Giddy up.